Today, I want to talk about and expose the corrupt AMC shill plan. This is their plan to try and convince you to sell your shares so they can save those market makers and those short hedge funds. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now to dive straight in with the key information. So, Bleeding tweeted saying, I'm hearing Doug Cifu will be on a space call with that shill Amy. Wow, what a match made in heaven. So if you didn't already know, Amy is from a group of people including Spence, Mark Kohrs, Wall Street Apes, Matt kohrs and a number of other individuals that seem to be against the reverse split and are blaming Adam Aron for everything, but are still for some reason holding on to their shares and still believe in the squeeze. Now I guarantee you that over the next few weeks these shills are going to change their tune and try and convince you that Citadel and Virtu are not the problems and that Adam Aron is the sole reason why AMC hasn't squeezed. They're going to try and make Citadel and Virtu out to be the good guys and make Adam Aron out to be the bad guy. Once they've done that, they're going to try and convince you that synthetic shares don't exist and that Doug Cifu and Virtu are actually the good guys, and therefore you should sell your shares because the squeeze won't happen because it's Adam Aron's fault. I guarantee you they're going to try and convince you that AMC has not and will not squeeze because of the reverse split. They're going to try and convince you that Virtu and Citadel are the good guys and that synthetic shares do not exist and that AMC will not squeeze and that you should instead just blame Adam Aron. Doug Cifu was saying on this Spaces call that Virtu can't just create synthetic shares out of nowhere. He was saying that a liquidity fairy does not exist and that synthetic shares also simply can't exist because of regulation SHO. But he then also said later on in the Spaces call that they pay for tons of violations of regulation SHO and that Virtu has received tons and tons of fines. He said that he's not happy about these fines, but these fines are simply speeding tickets. Doug Cifu also denied allegations that Virtu and Citadel control stock prices and acknowledged that there are several claims made by retail investors that he finds hard to grasp, despite running one of the world's largest market making firms. Again, Doug Cifu basically spent this whole call explaining how synthetic shares simply can't exist and that how simply a short squeeze could never happen, and Amy was going along with every single word of it. Now again, Amy and that group of people supposedly still believe in the squeeze and still want to hold their shares, but are blaming Adam Aron for the reason that AMC has not squeezed. Doug Cifu is also apparently displeased with the label of dark pools being used to describe alternative trading systems. Additionally, he's expressed dissatisfaction with Gary Gensler's use of the term dark markets when referring to ATSs. And Doug says the SEC actually regulates these ATSs and has full visibility of all activity within the systems, and therefore crime simply cannot occur. Again, as I said, Doug Cifu, Virtu and Citadel and this group of people including AMC, Spence, Mark Kohrs, Wall Street Apes and everybody else are going to try and convince you that synthetic shares do not exist and that manipulation does not exist and that Adam Aron and the reverse split are the sole reason for AMC not squeezing. And then they're going to basically try and tell you that you might as well sell your shares because it's all Adam Aron's fault because this manipulation and these synthetic shares simply don't exist. But again, we know that that is absolutely rubbish because we know that synthetic shares do exist and that tons of crime happens every single day. We know all of these large market makers regularly pay these speeding ticket fines that are often tens if not hundreds of millions of dollars, committing crimes and just simply not admitting to it. We know there's between 10 and 100, maybe even over 100 lawsuits for firms that have been caught creating synthetic shares. Those firms have indeed been caught and they've even paid the fine just without admitting wrongdoing. Again, I've made hundreds of videos over the last 2 years explaining why these synthetic shares do exist, and many people have admitted that synthetic shares do exist, and it's all out there in black and white and in these lawsuits for all to see. But again, Doug Cifu and Virtu are still out there trying to convince people that synthetic shares don't exist, just like Charles Gasparino, and trying to convince you that AMC will not squeeze and that you might as well just sell your shares. And as Crystal Ball tweeted, he said, ever notice how those bashing Adam Aron and the reverse split and running space calls with known short sellers and spoofers never share movie tweets or promote the company? I wonder why. Guys, be sure to sign up to Moomoo, the sponsor of today's video, by using the link in the description below. You can currently receive up to a whopping 15 free shares, entirely commission-free trading, free level 2 market data, and most importantly of all, Moomoo is very easy to use and it's very clear and concise. Moomoo's also got tons of technical indicators and charting tools. There's also free 24/7 customer support, and you can also trade around the clock with their full extended trading hours. As Hang Loose tweeted, he said the hedge funds have done a good job infiltrating the community, where they've conditioned loads of apes to attack other apes for having different opinions and scream for them to sell. The latest shield tactic is to try and ask you if you're for the squeeze or for AMC fundamentals, basically saying that if you're for the squeeze, you should be against Adam Aron and against the reverse split, and you might as well just side with these shorts like Virtu and Citadel. And obviously, if you're just for the fundamentals and against the squeeze, that you should obviously be for Adam Aron and for the reverse split, which is absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I personally am obviously for the squeeze and also for the fundamentals, but obviously I'm against those short sellers. I personally think fundamentals and short squeeze go hand in hand, and our enemy against the short squeeze is those short sellers. But again, these shills are now trying to convince you that if you're for the squeeze, then you might as well side with Amy and with Doug Sifu and with these other short sellers as well. But if you're only for the fundamentals, then you might as well side with Adam Aron. They're saying that these two are mutually non-exclusive. But I think most of us here know exactly who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. I also saw this brilliant tweet from Chris Rose, a US Senate candidate. He tweeted saying, calling for a full congressional investigation into Gary Gensler's and the SEC's handling of the ghost shares that hedge fund managers are using to wage war against retail investors. He said, I encourage everyone to join me in this call for action and to contact their representatives to demand that they take action. Obviously, I completely agree with Chris Rose, and I do hope the Senate actually does something against Gary Gensler and against the SEC, and ultimately against these short sellers waging war against retail investors. Now, finally, I also wanted to talk about this tweet from Boss Blunts, which I think is an excellent move in the right direction. He tweeted saying the crypto exchange Bittrex has filed for bankruptcy today, less than a month after the SEC charged it with operating as an unregistered exchange. He said Bittrex is well known for issuing tokenized securities without actually holding the underlying assets allegedly, which could be used as a fake share locate by broker-dealers against heavily shorted stocks such as AMC, GameStop, kohrs, and other meme stocks. He said these tokenized securities were issued on January 28, 2021, the same day that AMC, GameStop and the other meme stocks were made position close only by broker-dealers like Robinhood, IBKR and Webull. And remember that Bittrex and its CEO were charged for operating an unregistered national securities exchange, broker and clearing agency all at the same time. Interestingly, the exact same thing that Citadel and Ken Griffin are doing as well. Citadel are operating their clearing agency, their market making firm, their exchange or dark pool and also their hedge fund all under the same roof. So guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.